Hello everyone. In our previous videos, we have seen atomic radius and valence, how they are going to vary in the groups and periods. Now, in this video, we are going to see what is ionization energy and how it is going to vary in the groups and in the periods, and also what are the factors that are going to affect ionization energy. Now, let us see what is ionization energy. Ionization energy is the amount of energy required to remove an electron from the isolated neutral gaseous atom. So we can't remove the atom from a bonded atom. When an atom is bonded to other atom, so we can also remove the electron, but it is difficult. That is not ionization energy, right? When an atom is bonded to other atoms, that will be having some attractive interactions with that particular atom. So therefore, it is completely different. Here, ionization energy refers only to the neutral, gaseous and isolated atom. What it is? Energy required to remove an electron, and where this electron will be removed? From the outermost shell. An electron from outermost valence shell. From where we are removing? From a neutral, isolated, gaseous atom. This is ionization energy. Ionization energy is the energy required to remove an electron from, and that electron is from outermost valence shell from a neutral, gaseous and isolated atom is known as ionization energy. This is measured in kilojoule per mole. Per mole of atoms, how much energy is required? How many kilojoules of energy is required? In that way, we will be measuring the ionization energy. Now let us see an atom A. Ionization energy is indicated by IE. Shortly in this we will be referring ionization energy as IE, ionization energy. So here let us assume this is a neutral gaseous atom, and from here we are removing the energy, removing an electron. For that we need some energy. That energy we are calling it as ionization energy. By removing an electron, we are going to get, see, as we have discussed in our previous videos, that formation of an ion. An ion is formed either by removing an electron or by adding an electron. Here we are removing an electron. So by removing an electron, what kind of ion is going to form? It is cation. So we are going to get a cationic species. In this way, electron will be removed from it. Right? So this is first ionization energy. This is a neutral atom. Here we can also further remove the electrons from the atoms. If we remove an electron from a neutral gaseous atom, then that energy required is known as first ionization energy. Right? It is known as first ionization energy. That is the reason why we are putting here 1. First ionization energy. Next, after removing an electron, the species, neutral species is going to get converted into cationic species. This gaseous cationic species can further be removed one electron. That means we can further remove one electron from this. By that ionization energy for removal of electron from this cationic species is known as second ionization energy, because already we have removed an electron from the neutral species. That energy required is known as first ionization energy. And again we are removing electron from the cationic species. So that ionization energy is known as second ionization energy. So by removing one more electron, what happens? This cationic species will be converting into dicationic species. Cation with +2 charge, because we have removed 2 electrons. By removing one electron +1, by removing the second electron +2. So again we have removed the second electron. In this way, if remove further one more electron from this dipositive cationic species, that is A plus 2. What we are going to call this energy as? You can easily assume. From a neutral species, if we are going to remove an electron, that ionization energy is known as first ionization energy. And if you are removing the electron from a unipositive cationic species, it is known as second ionization energy. And if you are removing the next electron from this dipositive cation species, then we are going to call it as third ionization energy. A plus 3. One more electron will be removed. This is first ionization energy, second ionization energy, third ionization. Now, just let us compare this. Which ionization energy will be greater? Either the first or second or third. First energy will be greater or second energy or third energy. Let us just find out. See, here we are removing an electron from a neutral species. Neutral species means which will be having equal number of protons and equal number of electrons. So, removal of electron will be somewhat easy. But after removing that electron, the species, that is the neutral species, is going to get converted into cationic species, where the number of protons are greater than the number of electrons. That means here the protons are greater by 1. That means here in this case, the number of protons will be greater by 1 unit. So here, as due to the increased nuclear charge, removal of electron from this unipositive cationic species will be greater, will require more energy, right? So this second ionization energy is greater than first ionization energy. I hope you have understood this. See here, we are removing the electron from a cationic species. So here, we require some more energy than from the neutral species. So you can imagine now the third ionization energy. See, already by removing 2 electrons, that has converted into a dipositive cationic species, where the number of protons are more by 2. The number of electrons will be less by how many? 2. So therefore, here the nuclear charge is still further, that is higher, greater, very much greater than the second and the first cases. So therefore, removal of third electron from this dipositive cationic species will be very, very difficult. So in this way, we can compare that IE3 is very much greater than IE2, which is very much greater than IE1. Okay, ionization energy, third ionization energy is greater than second ionization energy, which is greater than first ionization energy. So in this way, we can compare the ionization energies. For this, let us take the example of lithium, a neutral lithium atom. The first ionization energy, IE1, for lithium Li is equal to 520 kilojoules per mole, right? Whereas the second ionization energy for Li plus, see, by removing one electron, lithium will be converted into Li plus, is 7,300 kilojoules per mole. See, there is a great difference here. 520 to 7,300, almost 6,800 kilojoules of energy difference. So you can see a very large difference in these two cases, because lithium, on removing one electron, it is going to attain 1s2, which is a stable fulfilled configuration. So therefore, it doesn't prefer to lose the further electron, right? Next, the third ionization energy, IE3 of lithium, is equal to 11,750 kilojoules per mole. So again, 7,000 to 11,000, almost 5,500 difference. So this is also a very great difference. So in this way, if you take an element, its third ionization energy will be very much greater than second and first ionization energy. If we keep on removing, if we take a bigger atom or bigger element with more number of, that means whose atomic number is very greater, then the removal of electrons will be carried out. That means fourth ionization energy, fifth ionization energy. So as we keeping on removing the electrons, the positivity of that particular species is going to increase, which will make it difficult for the removal of electrons. So as the electrons are being removed, ionization energy keeps on increasing. Now let us see the factors affecting this ionization energy. What are the factors that are going to affect this on this ionization energy? Factors affecting ionization energy. What factors affects the ionization energy? So you all know that for everything there will be different factors affecting on different things, right? Whatever the process that are occurring around us will be depending on various factors surrounding it. In the same manner, this ionization energy is also affected by many kind of factors. They are atomic radius, screening effect, or which we also call it as shielding effect, penetration power of orbitals, and also stable configuration and nuclear charge. The 5 factors majorly affect the ionization energy. What are they? They are atomic radius, nuclear charge, screening effect, or we also call it as shielding effect, and penetration power of orbitals. How deeply the orbitals can penetrate closer towards the nucleus, on that also this ionization energy will be depending on, and also the stable configuration. It also depends on stable configuration. Let us discuss them in detail one by one. The first factor we are going to discuss is nuclear charge. Just now, in the case of first, second and third ionization energy, we have seen this nuclear charge. See, as we move from left to right in a period, if you take particular period elements like first or second or third period elements, from left to right, what happens? The atomic size decreases due to the increased nuclear charge. Due to the increased atomic number, the number of protons increases, whereas the electron will be added to the same shell number. That means to the same shell, the electrons will be keeping on added as we move from one element to the next element in a period. So what happens? Nuclear charge is going to increase. Nuclear charge increase means what? It is going to pull the oppositely charged electrons towards itself very strongly. So due to the increased nuclear charge, the removal of that particular electron will be very difficult. See, if you take this an electron, its removal will be depending on the nuclear charge. Greater the nuclear charge, strong will be the attraction between these two, the electron and the nucleus. So you know that nucleus means it will be having protons and neutrons with the great positive charge. So this positive charge will have a strong attraction on the electrons. So this valence electron will be pulled by this. So removal of this will be depending on how much nuclear charge that particular element is possessing. So greater the nuclear charge, what happens? Greater the amount of energy required. So it has hold the electron strongly means to remove that electron we need to provide greater energy, right? So therefore that means greater energy means nothing but ionization energy. More ionization energy will be required here. So as nuclear charge increases, ionization energy also increases. As nuclear charge increases, what happens? The ionization energy also increases. Yes, keep this point in mind. The second factor is shielding effect or screening effect. What do you mean by shield? Shield will be protecting something, right? So the shield majorly that will be used in the warfare. Shielding means what? Protecting. So this electron is being shielded by the orbital. See here, there is one orbital. If you take screening or shielding effect, this is the effect where the outermost electrons will be protected from the nuclear charge by the what shells, by the shells, that means inner electrons, inner orbitals. So more the number of shells, more will be the shielding, right? So if there are more orbitals between the nucleus and the valence electron, that means this valence electron is being shielded, that means it is protected strongly by the more number of shells with more number of electrons, right? Therefore that electron will be affected less by this nucleus, so therefore the removal of that electron is easy, right? So more the screening effect, that effect is known as what? Screening effect, or what we call it as shielding effect. Shielding effect means what? Protecting the outermost valence electron from the nuclear charge is known as the shielding effect. So greater the number of orbitals, right, greater the number of shells between the nucleus and the valence electron, greater will be the lesser will be the energy required to remove that electron, because it is well protected from the nuclear charge. Nucleus is not going to affect this valence electron strongly, because there are many there are many shields, right? There are many shields here, so therefore that can be easily removed. This can be better understood from a period, from top to bottom. What happens, you know that the number of shells will be keeping on increasing. So as the shells increases, the valence electron will be less affected by the nuclear charge. So therefore we can easily remove that. Just let us take, or let us draw this diagram and let us see this. So this is the outermost valence electron, and there are only two now. See here, 1, 2, 3. 3 shells are there. So as this shell number increases, see here there are more shells. So these more shells will protect this valence electron strongly. So therefore, this can be easily removed. It is easy to remove. Easy to remove an electron. From here the electron removal is very easy, but whereas in this case somewhat a bit difficult. To remove electron, that means what electron? Valence electron. And in this case it is very difficult to remove an electron, valence electron from the atom. So as the shielding effect increases, or as the screening increases, it becomes easy to remove. Okay, it becomes easy to remove an electron from the species, right? So we can conclude this as shielding effect increases. As shielding effect increases, ionization energy decreases. Right? So this is the conclusion. Now the third factor which we are going to discuss is penetration power. Penetration. What do you mean by penetration? Penetration means, see, we will be studying about the shape of orbitals in your atomic structure itself, where s orbital is very simple with spherical shape, p orbital dumbbell shape, d orbital double dumbbell shape, and f orbital is complex shape. Due to the very simple shape of s orbital, the s orbital can move closer to the nucleus very deeply and very easily. But whereas the p, d and f orbitals, due to their increase in the complexity of the size, their penetration towards the nucleus will be somewhat difficult. So if you take in a particular shell, the subshells like S, P, D, F, penetration will be varying. S orbital can penetrate very deeply or very close to the nucleus than the P, D, F. If you take P, it can penetrate easily when compared to D and F. And if you take D, D can penetrate easily when compared to F. So in this way, penetration power also going to affect the ionization energy. So that means you can easily understand. So from S orbital, from a particular shell, it is easy to remove the electron from F subshell because F subshell is not going to penetrate deep and close towards the nucleus. So therefore, this means that F orbital is going to, F subshell is going to be away from the nucleus. So it is easy to remove that electron from the F subshell. Whereas coming to D, it is somewhat difficult, and whereas if we take P and S subshells, it is very difficult from S and P subshells. So this penetration power also affects penetration power of orbitals. Greater the penetration power, less will be the ease to remove the electron. So here S orbital penetration power is greater than P orbital or P subshell, and D subshell is greater than F subshell. So it will be difficult to remove electron from S subshell of a particular shell P, and it will be difficult to remove from D, and it will be easy to remove from F subshell. Okay, all these are the factors, and the next factor which we are going to discuss is, see, we have discussed nuclear charge, screening effect or shielding effect, and penetration power of orbitals, and the fourth one is stable configuration. What is the configuration? Electronic configuration. It is the way how the electrons will be filled, or electrons will be arranged around the nucleus of an atom. How the electrons will be arranged around the nucleus of an atom. The fourth factor is what? Penetration is over. It is stable configuration. The element with stable configuration. See, if you take the configuration, electronic configurations, the half-filled and full-filled configurations are stable because of symmetry. So we are standing stable. Why? Because our body weight is symmetrically measured or symmetrically weighed by these two legs. If one leg is very thin and if one leg is very fat, that this leg can't weigh our body. The two legs should be equal, and they should weigh our body equally. That means if this symmetry is lost, if one of the leg is very thin and lean, we will be bending and our body will not be stable. The same manner, whatever you take any object, that object will be stable only when it is symmetric. If you put more weight on one side, what happens? After some time, some or the other time, what happens? That will collapse. The same way, the orbitals with half-filled or full-filled electrons will be stable, right? Whenever an atom attains stable configuration, it doesn't prefer to lose that stability. Keep this point in mind. This is very important. See, always an atom or anything, whatever or any object or any animal, everything will prefer to be in a stable form. That will prefer to remain stable. So, the same manner, an orbital will be stable with half-filled and full-filled configuration symmetrically. Then, removal of electron from those particular elements will be very difficult. Why? Because they are losing stability. By removing an electron, what happens? That half-filled configuration or full-filled configuration, that symmetry will be lost. If it is going to lose the symmetry, it is going to lose its stability. So, atom doesn't prefer to lose its stability, right? So, it will be very difficult for removing an electron from a stable configuration containing atoms, right? So, here you should keep this point in mind. Atoms are elements with stable configuration. What are the stable configurations? They are fully filled or half filled electrons. Elements with stable configuration, that means fully filled or half filled electrons doesn't prefer to lose an electron. That means they require more energy. So, stable elements ionization energy is greater than unstable elements. Right. So we will be discussing the examples in detail while discussing about the variation in the ionization energies in the groups and in the periods. We will take the example for the stable configuration and we will discuss. Otherwise, it's better to discuss here itself. An example is nitrogen and oxygen. So here nitrogen and oxygen, when we take nitrogen and oxygen, see this is these two belongs to a same period. In this, as we move from left to right in a period, what happens? The nuclear charge will be increasing, so therefore the ionization energy should increase. So from nitrogen to oxygen, the amount of the ionization energy should increase. But here for nitrogen it is 1403 kilojoule per mole, whereas for oxygen it is 1313 kilojoule per mole. This is the very best example where the nitrogen is having 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. Half filled. See here this p orbital is filled with 1 electron, half filled configuration. Right. Next, coming to oxygen, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. It is not with the valence shell is not with symmetry. See here the symmetry is lost here. One more electron is there here. Here there are 3 equal electrons in the 3 orbitals of this p section. So here there are that is not the case, right? So actually oxygen should have greater ionization energy with respect to nuclear charge, but due to the stable configuration differences, nitrogen is having greater ionization energy than the oxygen. This is the best example. So you may be facing this question very frequently. Why the ionization energy of nitrogen is greater than oxygen, even though the nuclear charge of oxygen is greater than the nitrogen? Right. For that, this is the explanation. And the fifth factor is atomic radius. Atomic radius. We know what is atomic radius. Atomic radius will indirectly show the size of an element. Atomic radius, the greater the atomic radius, bigger will be the size of an atom. So, if the size of an atom is bigger, means what? The distance from the nucleus to the outermost electron is also more. See, if you take an element with small size and if you take an element with somewhat bigger size, and if you take an element somewhat still bigger size, see in these 3 elements the difference, the distance from the nucleus to the outermost valence electron is somewhat less here. Here in this case it is greater, and from here to here it is still greater. So as the atomic radius increases, what happens? The distance from the nucleus to the outermost valence shell or outermost valence electron will be increasing. So as the distance increases, what happens? The nucleus can't pull that valence electron strongly towards itself. So therefore, it will be held loosely by this nucleus. So as it is held loosely by the nucleus, it is easy to remove that electron. So we can conclude that the greater the atomic radius, easy to remove an electron. right? So as the atomic radius increases, the removal of electron is easy. The removal of electron is easy. So we can conclude this. As atomic radius increases, the size of the atom increases, and due to the increased size and due to the increased distance from nucleus to the outermost valence electron, the atomic radius is also going to increase. So ionization energy is going to decrease, right? So this can be understood in the case of a group. In a group from top to bottom, the atomic radius keeps on increasing, as we have studied in our previous classes. As the atomic radius increases, what happens? The size of the atom increases, and it will be easy to remove the electron. So as in a group from top to bottom, we can assume that the ionization energy is going to decrease. Now let us see the variation in atomic radius. How the atomic radius is going to vary in a group and in a period. Let us see now, because this is very important. We need to compare the ionization energies in the groups and in the periods. Now, variation of ionization energy in groups and periods. How it is going in the variation of ionization energy in groups and periods. In the groups, as you know, from top to bottom, here the size of atoms is going to increase. Due to the increase in the size of atoms, the distance from the nucleus to the outermost valence shell is going to increase. As the distance increases, what happens is nuclear charge effect on the valence electron will be less. So therefore, that can be easily removed by us. So by providing less amount of energy only, we can remove the electron from its outermost shell as the size increases. Okay. So we can conclude that in a group from top to bottom, due to the increased atomic radius and due to the increased shielding effect also. Here see, in this case there is no shielding effect. But as you move to lithium, there is one shell which is shielding the outermost shell, and here there are two shells. So as you move from top to bottom, the shell number increases, means the shielding effect is going to increase. Due to the increased shielding effect and due to the increased atomic radius, the ionization energy is going to decrease from top to bottom in a group. That is the conclusion. So take the values for hydrogen, it is 1312 kilojoules. For lithium, it is 520 only. For sodium, it is 490. For potassium, it is 418. And for rubidium, it is 403 kilojoules per mole. Now, let us see the variation in the case of periods. How the ionization energy is going to vary in the case of periods. Let us see. In a period, from left to right. From left to right. So here I have written from top to bottom here due to the space, due to the size factor here, space factor, I have written from top to bottom like this. See here lithium, as you know that in a period from left to right, what is going to happen due to the increased nuclear charge? Why the nuclear charge increases is because due to the increased atomic number, the nuclear charge is going to increase, and the peculiar and the special thing is the electrons are being added to the same shell. That is a very important point. So with the increase in the nuclear charge and the electron addition to the same shell, the nuclear charge will be more on that particular valence electron. So therefore, the atom size is going to shrink. So what happens as atom size shrinks or decreases, the nuclear charge is going to pull the valence electron very strongly. So therefore, the removal will be difficult, right? As the interaction between the positive charge and the negative charge is increasing, means that removal of electron will be very difficult. So we need to provide more amount of energy for removal of valence electron. So that is ionization energy increases. So lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. So in the case of lithium, it is 520, beryllium 899, boron 800, carbon 1086, nitrogen 1480, and oxygen here actually it should increase. See, there is an increase. Clearly there is an increase here. But actually oxygen should have greater ionization energy than nitrogen. But what is the factor here? Stable electronic configuration of nitrogen. Nitrogen is having half-field stable configuration. So removal of electron from nitrogen will require more energy. So therefore, this is having greater energy than the usual. Greater ionization energy than the usual. Actually, this should have around 1200 kilojoules. But here due to the stable electronic configuration of nitrogen, that is half-field stable configuration, the removal of electron will be very difficult. So the ionization energy has actually jumped to 1400. Oxygen is 1312 and fluorine is as usual. Here there is a clear trend increase in the trend 1680 and neon is 2080 kilojoules per mole. So as we move from left to right in a period, what happens? The ionization energy increases, and as we move from top to bottom in a group, what happens? The ionization energy decreases. Here in the groups it is decreasing, and in the periods it is increasing with few exceptions due to some factors. Right? So in the next videos we will be discussing about electronegativity. Thank you for watching.